Judy Sleed. Our special guest is Richard Watson. And now here's Judy, Judy, Judy.
Oh, thank you, Lee. That was lovely as usual. It makes it worthwhile coming here. Welcome to my show, and I'm so happy to have this wonderful young man who's very not only talented, but very handsome, Richard Watson. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
And you have a very interesting background, and well, presently you're going to appear in Hamlet at Guildhall. That's why you're here in the Hamptons.
Right, right. I'm a New York City-based actor, and Josh Gladstone, the artistic director, and the director of this show, he and I had known each other for several years. He cast me originally for the Hampton Shakespeare Festival, which he founded and was the artistic director for a while, as Oberon in Midsummer Night's Dream. I think that was in '97. And he and I have been communicating with each other over the years, and my schedule freed up after a 5-month run down in Sarasota, Florida. And he asked me to play King Claudius in this production of Hamlet, so here I am. This is my first...
I'm so happy you were out of work, so when he paged you, you could come here, and you're going to stay with us all summer in the Hamptons.
Right, yeah. One of the nice things about the situation is that there's now 2 shows in the season at Guildhall. We're starting the season off with Hamlet. We open on Saturday, and that runs through June 19th. And then after that, we open another show that's directed by Tony Walton, called Moby Dick Rehearsed. And that show, I believe, runs through mid-August to mid-September. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here during the hottest part of the summer. Thank goodness. I'll be out of New York City.
That's wonderful. We're looking forward to having you here. So, and especially me, I could show you around Hamptons.
There you go.
Well, I'm local, you know.
That's great. You know all of the places to go.
Yes, all the places and the beaches, which I'm sure you love. And well, this is the most exciting time to be in the Hamptons. I'm not saying that it's not exciting during off-season, but this is really a lot of shows, a lot of entertainment. So you live in New York City right now, and you told me yesterday when you were my date.
We met for breakfast.
Yes. And you said that you actually make your living as an actor. Well, that's very commendable.
I moved to New York City in 1995, and I'm a union actor. I'm a member of the Actors Equity Association, which is the theatrical union, Screen Actors Guild, which of course is filmed work, and AFTRA, which is taped work. And so I moved to New York City with those in my back pocket, and found immediately that I couldn't get any work because no one there knew me. And I had a lot of temporary gigs, a lot of day jobs. I worked as a temp for a few companies. And after about a year there of auditioning for people and getting to know casting directors and agents and that sort of thing, I eventually started landing work, and I gave up my day job, and that was the end of that from about '96 on, and I've been living exclusively off of my income as an actor.
That's really great, especially when you told me that you never did any a job as a waiter.
No.
And some of your friends.
No.
Tell us that story. What happens to some of your friends?
I moved to New York City with 2 friends from Florida, and one of them got a tour in Germany, and never came back. So who knows what happened to him. But the other roommate that I had, it was an actor friend who was constantly working down in Florida as an actor, constantly, as a union actor. And he moved to New York City and got involved in waiting, and it was very lucrative for him. He made a lot of money as a waiter, and so his union memberships have lapsed, and he doesn't audition anymore. And 10 years later, he's now I think he has an apartment. I think he owns an apartment in New York City off of his weight income. So God bless him. It's good for him. It's admirable that he was able to do that. But a lot of my friends will move to New York City as actors, and they, because it's so expensive to live there, that you have to have this, or at least you're in a mindset where you have to have a job to at least pay the rent and that sort of thing. And as a result, when you take a waiting job, or any job for that matter, that takes up 40 or 60 hours of your week, like when I was working temp right when I first arrived, I was working 60-hour work weeks, and I realized I have no time to audition. None at all. And when that happens, that's the trap, because you end up making a lot of money doing these 40-hour work weeks, and you have no time to actually audition. And once you stop auditioning, you're no longer an actor. You don't get hired.
The message is that if you really have it in your blood, if you really want to do it, then you just have to stick with it.
Right.
You can't derail, like you said, do other things.
Right, right.
And it goes like with almost everything else.
Sure.
If you don't stick to the job or the field, if you don't stick to the field you want, and if you derail, you'll never get there.
Yeah, you've got to have that focus, and keep your eye on the prize, as it were. You want to.
Yes.
You want to. Of course, you need to make enough money to be able to keep a roof over your head and food in your belly and that sort of thing. But
yeah, I haven't heard that expression in a long time. The brass ring.
Yeah.
The monkey has the bat. Did you hear that,
Yeah,
right?
keep your eye on the prize. You
Yeah.
have to keep aiming.
Yes,
And don't
yes.
lose sight of why. I mean, it was, it happened actually, for me, the real turning point happened in that first year when I was in New York City, when I was working for Philip Morris. I was a temp for that company across the street from Grand Central Station. And I was also in a show where we were rehearsing at night. And I came into the rehearsal, I'll never forget this day, I came into the rehearsal, and after about 15 minutes of rehearsing, the director looked at me, he stopped the rehearsal, and he said, "Go home." I said, "Why? Why?" He said, "You're not here." He said, you are exhausted. He said, "You're not here, you're not focused. It's as though there's a guy on stage that's just saying the words and is not even present." He said, "Go home, get some rest. And get plenty of rest tonight. Take the night off." And the next day I gave up my day job. I called up the temp service and I said, "I'm not going to do this anymore." I did not come to New York City to be a temp, and I did not come to New York City to be a waiter. I came to New York City to be a professional actor. And if it means I have to starve to do it, then I'm going to starve to do it. So.
Well, that means you're really dedicated. This is what you want to do, because from all the biographies I have read, most people who succeeded had a lot of hard times in the beginning.
Go through it. You have to go through it, I think.
Yes. So, would you call yourself a Shakespearean actor? You would.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a very lucrative part of the field, but it certainly is the area of the field that I have the most passion in. I studied from a young age. I've studied Shakespeare, and I've studied classical texts and verse texts, and I've always had a passion for it. I've always loved it. I've loved doing it and peeling back that onion, as we were talking about yesterday. The wonderful thing about Shakespeare is that you always, every time you read it, every time you rehearse a scene, every time you think about it, you scratch the surface and you suddenly realize there's another color underneath, and you peel that level back and you go, "Oh, that's beautiful, that's beautiful." And then you look a little bit harder at it and you scratch it again, there's another color underneath it. It's like an onion. It just is layer after layer after layer. And for me, it's kind of it's detective work. You really do have to uncover the clues, and he leaves a lot of clues for his actors in his texts. And that passion led me on while I studied. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina originally, and I got my undergrad degree at the University of North Carolina. And while I was there, I got accepted to a program at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I studied there, and that's where my passion for Shakespeare really took hold. I had a group of people that were there whose passion was the same. The teachers, the passion was the same, and we really got into it. It was total immersion. And then years later, in 2000, 2001, I also got my graduate degree at the Academy for Classical Acting in Washington, D.C., under the auspices of Michael Kahn, who who's head of the acting department, I believe, at Juilliard, and he's also the artistic director at the Shakespeare Theater in Washington, D.C. So.
Well, to me, when somebody does Shakespeare like you, that's the top.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you could do anything.
From your lips to God's ears. Thank you.
So, would you give us a sample of
sure.
what you do as a Shakespearean actor?
Sure.
What is there to see when I go to see that show at Guildhall?
Well, how about
that moment when you come on and do this scene?
Right. How about there's a moment in Hamlet. I'm playing King Claudius, who is the stepfather of Hamlet. And what happens is in the play is that a ghost comes on. I'm not going to give it all away, but a ghost comes on, and it's the ghost of the most recently departed king, King Hamlet I, Hamlet Senior, or Hamlet's father. And he tells Hamlet that he was murdered. He was murdered by his brother, Claudius, who I'm playing in the show. We don't quite know if that's true or not, because the ghost might be a good ghost, might be a bad ghost. We're not quite sure. But at the end of Act 3, King Claudius, the guy that I'm playing, has what's known as a soliloquy, which basically it's one-on-one with the audience. There's no one else on stage, and usually a soliloquy is, the reason why Shakespeare puts it in the show is that it's some sort of confession to the audience that no one else on stage is supposed to know, or it's a realization that a character has. Hamlet has a lot of those realizations in the show where he shares his realizations with the audience, but with no one else on stage. And this particular soliloquy that King Hamlet has, or that King Claudius has, is he confesses to the audience that he actually did kill his brother, and he usurped the crown. And then he married King Hamlet's wife, Hamlet's mother, Gertrude. And why he's confessing it to the audience is because he needs to confess it. He has a desire to confess his sins because he is a religious man. But at the same time, he's stuck between confession, repentance, and wanting to retain all of the things that he has, all of his worldly goods, his ambition, his crown, his queen, and everything about being a king. And he can't come to that reconcile. He can't reconcile those two worlds of confessing and giving it all up. He can't do it. And that's what this soliloquy is about when he talks to the audience. So this is, I'm going to get up and do this. This is King Claudius from the end of Act 3 in Hamlet. Soliloquy to the audience. No. My offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it. A brother's murder. Pray, can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause, where I shall begin, and both neglect. What if this hand were thicker than itself in brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy but to confront the visage of offense? And what's in prayer but this twofold force, to be forestalled ere he come to pass, or forgiven being down? Then I'll look up. My fault is past, but oh, what form of prayer shall serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder? That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder, my crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offense's gilted hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize buys out the law, but 'tis not so above. there is no shuffling. There the action lies in its true nature, and we ourselves compelled, even to the teeth and forehead of our faults, to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can, what can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, wretched state! Oh, bosom black as death! Oh, limed soul that, struggling to be free, art more engaged. Help, angels, make essay, bow, stubborn knees and heart with strings of steel, be soft as sinew of the newborn babe. All may be well. Dominus omnipotens, sempiterne Deus.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. You know, that gives me an incentive to go see it.
Yeah, there you go.
It was really great.
Thank you.
I'm sorry we don't have an audience here because you would have gotten a standing ovation.
We have a huge audience here. We have hundreds of thousands of people watching the show right now. How's that?
Well, yes, on television, yes, but right here while we're doing it.
I see them. They're all there. Hi.
All there.
Hi out there.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Mom.
And I just wanted to know if you've done anything else besides Shakespeare.
Oh, yes. I mean, like I said, Shakespeare is my passion. I enjoy doing it. When people invite me to be in a Shakespeare piece, I jump at the chance, but you got to pay the bills. I do commercial work. I do film and television work in New York City. I've been on some episodes of Law and Order and Sex and the City and Ed, and I'm kind of dating myself now with...
No, but what I meant was if you did do any other plays.
Oh, sure. As a matter of fact, the last show that I did was down in Sarasota at the Oslo Theater Company. It's a production that was directed and written by Marcia Milgram Dodge called The West End Horror, and I played Sherlock Holmes.
Oh.
And so it's a non-classical piece, contemporary piece written by someone who also directed me in the show. And that show, actually, I think it premiered at Bay Street, if I'm not mistaken, about 1.5 years ago. And I think that I might be doing the same show again when Tony Walton's show closes here, Moby Dick Rehearsed. I'll be doing Sherlock Holmes out in Utah. Marcia has asked me to play the role again for the Pioneer Theater Company.
So if any other jobs besides Shakespeare comes along, you will take it.
Most
anything,
definitely.
any type of
Most definitely. Yeah.
drama, comedy, musicals. You sing also?
Oh yeah, sure.
And dance?
I can I can dance, sure.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what is your ambition? What would you like to do the most? I mean, if somebody would offer you a job on television or in the theater or in the movies?
Well, I'm trying. I've done a lot of work out of town over the past 10 years. Out of town meaning out of New York City. And I've enjoyed that a lot. I've enjoyed that immensely. You go out of town, you get to meet new people, you get to see new places, and you get to work for new theater companies and work for different directors and that sort of thing, and try to get a feel for what that theater's work ethic is and what they're going for. But I've done this now for 10 years, and I'm tired of boxing all of my things up and shipping them to me every 7 or 8 weeks. So I think right now my focus is primarily to stay in New York City if I can, and work film and television mostly. I just had a big audition for Law and Order with all 4 of the associate casting directors for all 4 incarnations that are in New York City now, and hopefully something will come of that. We'll see. My agent Beverly Anderson, is calling people and trying to get me get into auditions and that sort of thing for film and television work. So.
Yeah, that seems to be very lucrative.
Very lucrative.
We talked about that yesterday at breakfast.
And not only that, but it will keep me in town, and I really would like to remain in New York City. Yeah, it's a steady income. You especially with television and commercial work and film work, you get residuals, which is every time the show is done again after its original airing, you get.
Yeah, that's one of the longest running shows on television.
Law and Order.
Isn't it?
I think so.
And they keep while they're doing new shows, they're showing the old ones on different channels.
And may I just say, thank you, Mr. Wolf. Thank you. And on behalf of all actors in New York City, we all thank you, Mr. Wolf.
Well, of course, we're talking with Richard Watson, and because sometimes when I look at television and there's a talk show, I don't know who it is on this. Yes. Well, pretty soon you'll be known all over because a lot of people watch this show.
Oh, wonderful.
And people will call you and ask for your autograph.
Okay.
Be prepared for that.
Okay. Well, I would most especially would like for them to come and see Hamlet. We open this Saturday, June 4th, and we run through June 19th at Guildhall in East Hampton. And then later in the season, Tony Walton's production of Moby Dick Rehearsed will open in mid-August through mid-September at Guildhall. So hopefully folks will come out and see it.
Oh, they will, especially when you're going to see this interview and the way you portrayed your part. It was really something to see, to look forward to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
So you're going to meet a lot of people here in the Hamptons.
Hopefully.
And maybe all the crew that you're working with. Maybe you will. Well, it's very good to meet new people because you'll get new connections.
Mm-hmm. Always, always. I've found that nearly every job that I've had over the past 10 years, I end up getting employment later on, somewhere down the line. Well, this job, the Hamlet job, for instance, I auditioned for Josh in '97, and here I am in 2005.
And he remembered you.
Yeah, we had a great time.
So that's something to say for your, as an actor and as a person, when somebody remembers you. I had a guest here a few weeks ago, and he also hangs around Law and Order as an extra. And
Done that.
You've done, and
Oh,
he's trying to get in that field also, and he's very excited. By the way, he also works as a guard at Guildhall.
Oh,
You
okay.
probably will meet him. His name is Chuck
I think I have met him.
Gennaro.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Yes.
That's great. He's a good guy.
It's a small world here
Sure
in the
is.
Hamptons.
Well, in this profession, it's a very small world. So it's amazing the people that you meet and then re-meet and meet again and then again and again. So it's,
And you help one another.
yeah, I think so. I'm my class president for my grad school, the Academy for Classical Acting, and as I'm the conduit of information. Anytime a casting comes up, excuse me, anytime a casting comes up for Shakespeare or a verse text play, I send out that information to all of my fellow grads, including the people that are in the grad years after our graduating class.
Okay, so when they get jobs, you're going to get residuals too, right?
No, but not that, but definitely if they make contacts and they think of somebody that needs a 30-year-old bearded 5'9" guy, and they'll think of me. So.
Oh, so you are still single?
Yes.
You are always single?
Always.
Always. I guess that's a career also.
Well, yeah, it's, when you're out of town, and that's another reason why it is that I would like to stay in New York City. It's, when you're moving around constantly, there's really no time to ever get to know anybody. It's kind of a gypsy existence, and there's really no time to establish any, some deep bonds with other people. You have the run of a show, basically, and if you're lucky enough to get cast in more than one show,
you're always saying goodbye to people.
Always, always. But it does have its positive sides. You do get to meet a lot of people on a regular basis, and that kind of expands your ability to get more work. But then again, it's all career oriented, so it's not personally oriented, which I'm trying to refocus my energies back into New York City so that I can
Do you also do anything else? Like, do you write, or you want to direct?
Actually, no. I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I've tried all of those things. I've tried to write, and I've tried to direct, and I've tried to produce, and I've done a pretty good job at all three of them. But I think where my heart really lies is in interpreting texts, interpreting what playwrights and screenwriters and episodic writers and commercial copywriters give me, and try to give it to them, give it back to them in such a way that the copyright and the director and the producer all go, that's it, that's what we wanted. That's what we want to sell, that's what we want the audience to know, that's what we want the audience to feel. And,
well, you could write a how-to book.
There you go.
Because you are very informative. I mean, especially when we were talking yesterday about agents and all that, and you really know your stuff.
I'm going to get an agent for you so that you can get more piano work.
Oh.
I'll be your agent. How about that? How about you be my agent as an actor, and you call up all of the people in New York City and say he's a great actor, and I'll call up people here in the East Hamptons and the Hamptons and say, look, you gotta hire Judy. She knows how to play piano and she knows how to teach piano. She was taught by the best.
Yes.
In where were you taught? Where was that?
Budapest.
In Budapest. Yes. What was your teacher's name?
Bishevazzi.
Oh, right. You were telling me.
Well, it's no matter how much I hate to, but we have to say goodbye.
Oh.
Every good thing comes to an end. And thank you for coming, Richard Watson. And I want to thank my underwriter. This time it was Donald Scott. I remembered to mention his name. Donald, you should be proud of me. And Mike at the camera, and Christine never, oh, here she is. Christine is here too. And Lee Davis, the real Lee Davis, my director. And thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye. You want to wave to the people? Bye. Over there.